Hello, wonderful person. Aaron speaking, and in this video, we will be talking about how to approach word problems. We have a problem right here that I'll read real quickly, and then we'll delve right into it. Bob's house is kept at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. When he left home one winter morning, it was 3 degrees Celsius below zero. How many degrees colder did he get when leaving his house that day? So, in general, the first thing you want to look at and identify when you're approaching word problems is what is the question asking? And the way you're going to find that out is generally going to be the last question, the last sentence inside the problem. So here, the last sentence was how many degrees colder did he get when he left his house that day? So basically, what the question is asking is how many degrees colder did he get? So in general, again, it would be it's usually the last sentence inside the word problem. Not always the case, but that's one of the first things you need to do when it comes to approaching word problems. And the reason why you need to identify what exactly is it asking is so that you could do the next step, which is find out what algorithm or function you want to use to solve for that. So let me write that down real quick. Find out what algorithm slash function you're going to use. And the algorithms and functions are what we're going over in the series of videos that we're requiring that you watch for the homework assignments. But basically, if you don't figure out what algorithm or function you have to use, there's no way you're going to be able to solve the problem. So before you start focusing on the specific details, you need to figure out what exactly you're going to do with that information. So for an example, sometimes after reading the problems, maybe you find the first thing you do is find out, oh, do I need to find the average of all these numbers? Do I need to find the greatest common factor? Do I need to find the least common multiple? How you use those algorithms isn't necessarily the hardest part. That's something you could get used to by just doing practice and doing the homework problems. The hard part when it comes to most problems, word problems specifically, is figuring out what exactly you have to do. So this is actually the hardest step, and it's impossible to know what algorithm to use if you don't know what the algorithms are first. So that's why the first thing you need to do before studying, which is what we have you all do at home, is know how to use the algorithms. And then the word problems, the hard part is applying it to these questions, which is the next step that you have to do. So, and then after you figure out what algorithm and function you're going to use, you're going to write down the information given, and you're going to want to write down the information given in terms of what algorithm or function you're going to use. For example, we know 25 degrees Celsius is the temperature of the house and 3 degrees Celsius below zero is the temperature outside. But how is that going to do us any good if we don't know what we're doing with those numbers? So that's why first you figure out what algorithm or function you're going to use, and then you can start writing down what each of those variables or each of those, what that information means. So that way you can know how you're going to use those numbers. And then the rest of it, the rest of the problem, after you have your function and after you have all the information, it's just a matter of plugging it into the equation or using the algorithm that you know, and the rest of the problem is easier from there. The hardest part is A, figuring out what function you need to use to answer the question it's asking, and then making sure you write down the information given correctly. So, attacking this problem, first, what is the question being asked? The question being asked is how many degrees colder did it get when he left the house that day? So, now let's go into the one of the hard parts about the problem, which is finding out what algorithm to use. So how many degrees colder implies that you need to basically find the difference from when he was in the house to when he was outside the house. So the function that I'm going to write down is just a, and let's say, and I'm using writing it in terms of variables right now, but let's say a is the temperature inside the house minus b, and let's say b is the temperature outside of the house. So this is a function. A minus b is going to give us is going to tell us how much colder it got after he left the house that day. A being the temperature inside the house and B being the temperature outside the house. So now what is A and B? Now we're going to enter the third step, which is write down the information given. Because we have the function, now we just need to know what are going to be the inputs of the function. So the temperature inside the house, which we said was A, the problem says it was 25 degrees Celsius. Now the temperature outside the house, and then this is where the problems could get a little tricky, especially when it comes to the third step. The temperature outside the house, the problem reads it was 3 degrees Celsius below zero. So if you write B is 3 degrees Celsius, that would be wrong. And the reason why that's wrong is because it says specifically 3 degrees below zero. So this problem is making sure that you know below zero means negative. So the temperature outside the house isn't just 3 degrees, it's negative 3 degrees. And that's going to make a huge impact on the final answer, especially since we're subtracting the two numbers. So to get the final answer, now after we write down the information and get that's given, it's just a matter of plugging the information that we got from the problem that was given to us into the function we have to use to answer the question. So it's just a matter of doing 25 minus negative 3. And this is a simple operation that you could even plug into your calculator if you don't know how to do it. 25 minus negative 3 is 28 degrees, which is A. Now, if you choose the wrong function, the people that write the test know what kind of mistakes people make. So let's say you forgot to make that negative 3 negative and just left it as positive 3. Notice if you did 25 minus positive 3, you would have gotten 22, which is an answer choice. So if you choose the wrong function or you write down the information incorrectly, that answer choice will be there. So that's why sometimes going straight to the answer choices could throw you off a bit. So just make sure you're writing down the right function, you plug in the information correctly, and if you do all of those two steps correctly, then the rest of the problem should be a breeze. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something and have a great day.